In our previous video, we talked about jumping back and forth with background jobs. Now, let's take a look at how to manage processes. So I'm going to start with this. PS, let me get to the right screen here. PS displays jobs for the current user. And you'll see I have multiple jobs going, including the PS that I just ran, my bash shell, and then you'll also notice these two, which are things I have running as background jobs. Okay, PS will show me my processes. PSA is going to show me more information. Again, these are just going to be my processes, but it's going to give the actual command here. And so you're going to see here, process ID 12409. Up here, it says it's nano. Here it tells me it's actually nano /etc/group. You'll also see that I have logins sitting on different TTY lines, which is this right here, the A get TY. Okay, that is logins that I have waiting open because I hit Control Alt and jumped to that session, but I didn't actually log in. Okay, so PS shows me my processes, but they're only my processes. PSA shows me all of my processes, but again, they're only my processes, and it doesn't show me anything about my users. So if I do PSAU, that will show me my processes, but now it's going to give me a lot more information, including this one right here is the user that's executing that process. Now, that becomes really, really helpful because now I can see what other people are doing on my system and not just myself. But that still only shows me user processes. It doesn't show me system processes or background processes. So for that, I'd be PSAUX. I'm going to go ahead and pipe this one to more. And this is going to give me a lot more information, including a whole bunch of jobs. And unfortunately, because of our font size, it's kind of breaking up our display a little bit. But it gives me a ton of information about my jobs, including ones that are running in the background. Now, if you do this PSAUX, it should display a whole lot nicer on your system than it does on mine because mine is wrapping the text around. But that's okay. We can still see how it works. Okay, so PSAUX displays everything. Now, what about managing processes that are using a lot of our system resources? So let me give you a couple of commands here. So I'm going to do PSAUX. So all of them show me the user information, show me things that are running in the background. But this time I want to sort my processes, and that sort is going to equal pCPU. And you'll notice let me do that correctly. I did dash sort equals negative pCPU. And what that negative does with that dash, it's a minus sign. What that does is that sorts it in descending order. If I just sort pCPU, it'll sort it in ascending order. And I want my most used processes on top. And the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to limit this using the head command. I'm going to pipe this output to the head command, and I'm going to say just show me my top 5. And this is going to show me my top 5 processes by percentage of CPU usage. Now, this is actually going to be pretty minor because I don't have a whole lot running on here. This is a demo system, and I've only had it up for a little while. So I don't have a whole lot built in yet. Memory might actually give us a better way of look at the way this works. So I'm going to change this to sort by negative or minus percent memory and give me my top 5. And here you're actually going to see this, and I can't really point this out too much, but you'll see this one's percent memory is 0.7, 0.5, 0.4, 0.4. So you get the idea. Now I want to show you something though. I asked for the top 5, right? So dash head N5. Okay. Unlike PowerShell, we're not dealing with objects here. We're dealing with lines. So it's going to show me my top 5 lines, not my top 5 processes. And my first line right here is my header line. So if I wanted my top 5 processes, I'd actually have to do head dash N6. And that's going to give me my top 5 processes. And my 6th line is going to be my little header line. So just something fun to keep in mind. Okay, So we've looked at processes, right? So you can do our PS and we can see what's going on. We did our display of CPU. We did our display of memory. So what about setting process priorities? So I'm going to do a PS-L. And this is going to show me my process priorities. And there's going to be two columns I want to draw your attention to here. So the PRI is a priority. And notice all of these have a priority of 80. So that is a default priority. The lower the number, the more priority it has on system resources. And then we have this niceness factor, and that's what NI does. So the niceness factor will very politely allow other processes to go first. So let me show you what I mean right here. So we have process 12409, and that is our nano process. It has the same priority as our Vim process and the same niceness. So I want Vim to have a higher priority. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the niceness value of nano. And here's our command. It's going to be renice, which is take this and change its niceness factor. I'm going to do it by the number 10, and I want to put my process ID of 12409. There we go. And so that's going to take that process ID 12409, old priority 0, which old niceness factor 0, new priority niceness factor of 10. Let me clear my screen here. I'm going to do PS-L, and you're going to see now our 12409, which is our nano, has a value of 90, a priority of 90, and a niceness factor of 10. So that 10 niceness got added to the base priority of 80, give it a priority of 90. It's now lower priority than Vim. So if there's a conflict for resources, Vim will win over Nano. At the moment, everything will win over Nano because everything is running at that default priority. But you get the idea, right? Okay, let me go ahead and close my Nano job. So I'm going to do jobs, and I'm going to see my Nano is job number 3. So I'm going to foreground 3, and then I'm just going to do a Control X to exit out. Okay, so now I do PS-L and no nano. Now, if I want to, I can start a process with a different niceness factor. And I do that using the command nice. So this is what it's going to be. I'm going to be nice dash N10 for nano. And that's going to open up for me. So Control Z to go to my background, clear this, and look at job-L. Whoops, not job-L. PS-L. There we go. And now we're going to see our nano right here is running a niceness factor of 10. Now, if I want to give something another priority, make it reprioritize something so that it has more demand on the system, I can take away its niceness. So I can renice, and I'm going to set the number to 5 for my nano, which is going to be process ID 12704. Now, this is actually going to generate a problem. So I don't have the permission to give something and I want to say higher priority, even though it's a lower value, because the lower the number, the more priority it has. I have the ability to renice something to make it less demanding, but not to make it more demanding. To make it more demanding, I have to sudo it. So I'm going to do sudo and redo that, put in my password, and there we go. Now I have a new priority of 5. Old priority 10, new priority of 5, PS-L. And now I'm running it overall priority of 85, niceness factor of 5. Okay, So everything starts out with an 80 by default. The question is, can I lower that and give it a higher priority? Well, yes, and I do it using the same command. I just nice it with a negative number. So here's what I'm going to do. Oops, let me get my process ID again here. And this time I want to take, because right now my Vim has the same priority as everything else. So what I want to do is I want to give that a higher priority or a lower number. So I'm going to sudo renice. I'm going to set the n as -5 for process ID 12404, which is my process ID or PID right here. And so that gives me a new priority of -5. So now if I do a ps-l, you're going to see base priority of 80, but base priority of 75 with a niceness factor of -5, base priority of 85. Okay, you get the idea. All right, so nice and renice are how we're going to adjust priorities. Now, one more thing. Let's talk about killing processes. And I'm going to work on just killing my processes right now. So I'm going to do ps-l. I'm going to start by killing my Vim, which is process ID 12404. So to kill a process, I can just enter the command kill process ID 12404. Now, I actually just typoed that command. So let's try this again. I don't do a -p, I just do a kill 12404. And that'll kill it. So if I do an ls-l, whoops, ps-l, there we go. Now you're going to see that 12404 actually did not go down. Okay, there's two ways that I can do this. So a kill command will send we call it a termination signal -7. I can do a kill -9 or -9 12404, which is a more dramatic kill. So that doesn't send a shutdown signal, that says just kill it. So ps-l, we now see that Vim is gone. So to get rid of my nano, this one I should just be able to kill 12704. Let's see if it'll take it out. ps-l, it did not. It did send a termination signal, but I need to go ahead and kill this thing permanently. So I'm going to do a kill -9 12704 and ps-l. There it goes. Number 3 was killed. Let's do our ps-l, and now the only two processes we have running are bash and ps. Okay, there we go. We have killed all of our processes. Now, I hope that you were able to follow along and do some of these same things on your own virtual machine. If not, just because of the size of my typeface, you don't get the nice little layout. So I would suggest going back through and re-going over this video or doing this video again, this time following along so that you can see what the output looks like. And it might make it a little bit easier for you to follow along.